welcome to our newest client success story. I want to introduce everybody to Dr. Loreto Lo Bosco. Dr. Lo Bosco, nice to have you on today.
Nice to be on. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And to get started, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are?
So I am a chiropractor. I've been in practice for almost 10 years now. I'm in the Buffalo Grove area. It's a suburb outside of Chicago. I'm a dad of two boys. I've been married to my wife for about coming up on 5 years now. And yeah, just doing what I can.
Congratulations. That's a good life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I know your story is a little unique in the fact that you and I probably spoke for a good, I want to say 2 years before you ever decided to join FPC, right?
Yep.
And I know that there were a lot of different reasons and a lot of different things happening in your life, because of that, which caused that time frame. But let's go back 2-3 years. Okay. Tell me a little bit about what was going on in your practice? What was going on in your personal life? What were some of the highs? What were some of the lows? Give me some of the frustrations that you were experiencing.
Yeah. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I had been in insurance my entire career. So about 3 or 4 years ago is when things were just, they were losing their luster. I was feeling unfulfilled. I was seeing, a good amount of patients, but they weren't really following my recommendations. They weren't seeing the results that they were looking for. A lot of people didn't really value what I was doing, and I felt frustrated. I had a difficult time communicating my message. The whole business aspect was just very difficult. I wasn't trained in school on that. I was trained on, how to be a doctor, how to, take care of people, but I wasn't really trained on how to communicate with them. So things were definitely very challenging and becoming more and more challenging. So around that time, I kind of started looking out for, some kind of an answer. I started working with a coach who I thought was going to kind of get me to where I wanted to go. What he ended up doing was he ended up kind of opening up my vision or my scope on how to better help the people that were in front of me. I got zero help in terms of business though, which is the big thing that I was looking for because I decided to move out of insurance. And when I made that switch, it was about 2019 and my practice disappeared. So I was in trouble and I was looking for help, and the coach that I was working with was not giving it to me.
Man, so you just pause for just a second because I kind of want to and I know some of your background. So I want to hear though, I want people to hear how scary was that for you, jumping from insurance to cash, and then all of a sudden, your practice is completely changed, your income is completely changed, and you don't really know where to go. I mean, what were you feeling in those moments?
Oh, it was completely terrifying because I just got married. I got married in 2017. We actually, at the beginning of 2018, we just bought a new house. So we had a mortgage. My wife, she hates her job. She really doesn't like to work where she's working, but it was helping us pay the bills. And just seeing the frustration on my wife's face every day when she was done working, it killed me. It hurt so bad. And I was working so hard. I was trying everything that I could think of to make something happen, and it just wasn't happening. And then I would have family in my ear constantly saying, "You should go back to insurance. Why did you get out of insurance? You see what happened now that you're not in insurance?" And I knew deep down that insurance was not the answer. It was just the opposite of the answer. I knew that there was something else that I was supposed to be doing, that I was supposed to be truly helping people. I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah. I've experienced that myself. when you know that your path is going to be like divergent, it's going to be a little bit different than what most people take. And because people don't have the vision that you have, and because they truly love you and want the best for you, right? I mean, your family's telling you these things out of love,
Mm-hmm.
but they're also telling you these things out of ignorance. So people will always put like their own filter of their life experiences on you. And I think that's one of the hardest things to push through, is that fear of like going against, the advice of close friends and family, because, if you don't succeed, there's the "I told you so," right?
Yeah.
And that can be really challenging. Plus, they care, that they mean well, but they also don't have the vision, and they don't have the experience that other people have. So if you had chatter in your ear of more of a positive, "Oh, you can do this," maybe that leap might have been a little bit easier, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it had gotten to the point where I kind of actively avoided some time with certain family members because of the fact that I knew that I was just going to hear these same things over and over, and they weren't helping me.
Right.
So it was incredibly challenging because for me, family is a huge part of my life. It is one of the most, if not the most important thing in my life. And to kind of have those feelings when I'm around my family, it was really, really difficult.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. And where was your wife at this time, like supportive wise? Was she like, "Yeah, go chase your dreams," or was she like, "Bring in money"? Like as a partner, it's a fine line of like, we want you to live your best life and your dreams, and we need to pay the bills and take care of the kids, right? There's like
Oh
that
yeah,
fine line that happens. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So at the time, we hadn't had our first kid yet. My first son, he was born in 2019. So I mean, still in the thick of the challenge that I was experiencing. But my wife was incredibly supportive. I mean, she knew that I was moving in a direction that I wanted to go. Obviously, it was incredibly challenging. We would have the money conversation way more often than I wanted, and it was never enjoyable because I felt like I was bringing that to the table before, and now it was gone, and I was sitting there and I was just taking. And I'm not a taker, I'm a giver. And it was so foreign to me. I felt uncomfortable.
Did it ever affect your relationship, being, because I know, I know that we're very modern, and I know that things have progressed, and I know that there is still like an innate desire for men to be the provider. As much as we want to advance society and have equal rights and all there is, every man I've ever talked to has they've never once said like, "Oh yeah, I'm cool not being the provider." There's always that like, "No, I want to know that I'm the provider." So how did going from the provider to being the person that needed the support, how did that affect your marriage? Like, did tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, I mean, I was definitely, my wife is a very independent person, so I definitely have to give her that. So before we were married, she was very self-sufficient. I'm a pretty old-fashioned guy, so I spoiled her quite a bit. I would do a lot of things for her. I would take care of a lot of things. And when this switch happened, it was like I was out of my element. I felt uncomfortable. Maybe you could say that I felt like less of a man because to me that was kind of my role in our relationship. So yeah, it was difficult. It was very, very sad. I was sad. My wife could tell this, but she was incredibly supportive. She was right behind me the entire time, right next to me, picking me up when I was down. And I mean, just she's a fantastic partner. I'm very, very thankful for her.
That's amazing. And thank you for like sharing that vulnerability of like, it did stink. And it's how amazing that you had somebody that, helped pick you up and was like, "It's okay. It's just part of our life. It's all good." That's so important to have a supportive spouse. So let's fast forward a little bit. You find out about FPC, and I don't know if you remember, I still remember our first call. So, you and I jump on the phone, and tell me what's going through your head. What are you hoping for, and what ended up happening?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So at the time that I found out about FPC, it was actually at a dinner talk. So it was at a nice restaurant, and I was like, okay, cool. I could definitely use a free meal, especially right around now. And I was still working with that other coach that I was talking to you about. And so I sat down, I listened to Dr. Webb's presentation, and he just hit every single point. It was like he was in my head using my own words to speak to me. I was just baffled. So yeah, I mean, as quick as I could, I set up a phone interview and wanted to get the ball rolling. And that's, when we first talked. And I distinctly remember during that first phone call that you had told me, I'd gone through my whole story and I'd explained everything to you, and you had told me that there is hope. When I heard those words, I don't know what happened inside of me, but I felt just so much lighter, and I felt like I was ready to cry. It was just, I was taken aback because I wasn't expecting any of that type of reaction. I'm a very by the numbers person. I'm very analytical. I do get emotional sometimes, but when it comes to things that I have to do, I'm very, let me take care of this stuff. But yeah, that conversation with you, it definitely struck a chord, and it made me feel like a person again. I didn't feel like a person before then.
What's so interesting is when I talk to people, I think I look for different things than what people are expecting me to look for, right? A lot of people will come in and use big numbers or use this or use that and try and convince us, to accept them into our program, because, there's that like double acceptance there. And what we're really looking for is the heart. And man, you had it like in spades. I was like, man, this guy's going to do so amazing. But we didn't move as quick as we both wanted to, right? There was challenges that came up. There was some fears that overtook. So tell me a little bit about what was going through your head. Obviously, you knew you had hope and there was excitement, but there was also, what else was going on?
So yeah, like I said before, family for me is a big thing. And, I'm always trying to share my ideas with my family with what's going on in my life. When I started talking about another coach, they're like, whoa, you were already working with somebody and not getting anywhere. Like, why is this going to be different? How is it going to be different? It's like, you shouldn't do this. You're going to be wasting more money, and it's just not going to get you where you're going to go. So I always having, that person in your ear telling you this isn't going to work. It's a bad idea. So I was struggling with that, but all the while thinking, everything that they're talking about makes perfect sense. It's exactly what I'm looking for. So I had this internal dilemma. My wife is a very protective person. So she was trying to protect me from another kind of, catastrophe. So she was telling me, are you sure this is what you want? Are you sure this is the direction we want to go? And at the time, we basically didn't have any money. We had like barely enough to pay for our mortgage and groceries. And I mean, to be honest, my parents were buying our groceries. That's where we were at. And I mean, I feel terrible saying that, but I was blessed to have them to help me. So yeah, money was definitely in short supply. My son was just born. And then, this is around the time that we got hit with COVID. And then I was kind of slowly starting to get things going in my office, but then I had to close for a month. And oh man, it was just, the hits just kept coming. And it was very challenging, and it was very difficult. And I didn't know what to do. I was hoping to get started with FPC as soon as possible, but it wasn't lining up at the time.
I remember that because I remember, we would touch base every so often. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I have to say about you was I was so impressed by the little, so we would coach, right? Like, you allowed me to coach you and give you some advice. And every time I did, you implemented it. I was shocked because you will be surprised at how many people don't use that coaching that they get on the phone, and you used it every single time, and you implemented something new, and you little by little, started putting things into place. And that really impressed me about you. I knew when the time was right and when you were able to, join FPC, you were going to be a great, just a great provider. So that showed me a lot of like heart again, and a lot of grit. I mean, because I know there's a lot of practitioners out there that are doing really, really well, and they're able to take home some money. There's also practitioners that are generating income, but they're not taking any home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's practitioners who were in your space who were just having a challenge getting things started. There's like, we know that there's people in all different phases of their practice. And what's so beautiful about the FPC model is that we can help the ones that are like you, just getting started and trying to build something, all the way to the practitioners who have something really incredible built, but maybe need more freedom of time, or maybe, want to offer a deeper program with their patients. So I saw that you were doing these things, and I was really excited for you. It took what, like 18 months, 2 years for us to finally like reconnect, and you say, I'm ready.
Yeah. So it was, to be honest, I don't really remember what. Something struck me, and something was just like, so I'd been stalking you guys, obviously. Like I don't know how many webinars I attended, and
be like, hey, Loreto, good to see you again.
yeah, exactly. And like workshops and trainings and all this kind of stuff. And I was gathering like a wealth of information just from the free content that you guys put out, right? Dr. Webb's webinars, different kind of packets that you guys had, that you guys were just, kind of handing out and educating people about. So I was taking all that information, I was putting it together, and I was, slowly trying to do it on my own. But it was moving at a snail's pace. And, something just hit me one day, and I was like, I think it was like a Friday afternoon. And I was just like, okay. So I go on my computer and I look for your schedule, your Calendly, and I just put myself in your schedule. And I remember you called me that day, and you're like, I checked this like 10 minutes ago, and I was free, and now I have you scheduled. So, okay, cool. Let's have another conversation.
Yeah, I was like, I'm excited to talk to you. What's going on? Like, obviously it's important. And then you were so awesome, and you were like, I think I'm finally ready. Or to something that extent, right? You're like, I'm finally ready. And yep. That was like one of the best conversations I'd had, because I knew you were in a place where you were going to go get it. And I was really, really excited. So we brought you in, and, you had an interview with Charlie, and, he felt the same way that I felt. He was like, this guy's going to be awesome. I know he's going to do extraordinarily well. But tell me, do you remember what happened? Like, whether it was, conversation with your wife, or was it an internal thing where you finally were like, I mean, because all these people are still telling you, don't do it. The finances haven't improved tremendously, right? It's not like a fairy godmother came in and like changed your circumstances and it made it right. easier for you to join, right? It was more like you just said, from my point of view anyway, it was more like you just said, I'm tired of listening to these people that are keeping me back, or I'm tired of letting my situation control my life. I'm going to take control. That's how I heard it on my end. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got to the point where I was just like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of trying to reinvent the wheel when there's a perfectly good wheel right here in front of me. I actually, so during that time, during that like 2 to 3 year time, I was saving as much money as I possibly could. And I had gotten to the point where I had saved somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000. And that was also another piece of confidence that said, you know what, you're there. You can do this. You can do this. You have this set up. You have this quote unquote safety net. This money that you can use to invest to help create the life that it is that you want. But also at the same time, while you're going through the process, you can still cover your bills, right? Your family is still in an okay place. We're not by any means, fine dining and doing all that kind of stuff. But, we're able to hang in there. And so it gave me that ability, that confidence, that boost. And when I was talking to my wife about it, she was saying, like, as opposed to before, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? She was saying more like, yeah, I think you're ready to do this.
That's awesome. Like, there's nothing better than I think you're ready to go. Like your partner being like, okay, let's do this, so that they can see the vision that you have. So we did your interview and we moved through the discovery process. And one quick thing I do want to make sure that people understand, because I think our process is so different than anybody else's process. At any point in time in the 2 or 3 years that we talked, did you ever feel like I tried to sell you anything?
Absolutely not. Like you guys did the opposite of that. You guys made me want to buy.
Well, and it's so interesting because I know people will be so hesitant sometimes to like book that call with me
Mm-hmm.
because of their experience with other coaches, with other programs, with other, salespeople. That's why I don't even have that title or that even, name. I'm a coach. I mean, that's what I love to do. That's who Charlie is.
Mm-hmm.
We are business coaches and we're going to pour into you until you're ready to move, right? And for some people that's like within a week, and with some people it's 2 to 3 years, like yourself, right?
Yeah.
But we are always going to be there because, and this, our mission is to revolutionize healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And we have like this really big mission where we're really trying to move the needle in how we perceive health in America. So we can't do that selling to people. We only can do that by building relationships and moving people into this new model when they're ready. So one thing I will say, if anybody's watching this and you are a little, concerned about booking a call, I hope that this alleviates that fear, because you will get coaching, and you'll get you'll get a lot of education. And if the opportunity is right, then we'll book the next meeting, right? That's kind of how the process went with you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have to say that FPC is probably the lowest pressure organization that I've ever had any relationship with. You guys are all about, like you said, educating and actually empowering.
Yeah.
So you guys are allowing me to build the strength within me in order to take the steps that I want to take. And one of the things that I'm just blown away by is that every single interaction that I have with every FPC member, I'm constantly learning something. I'm always learning something. It's not just at the workshops. It's not just on the coaching calls. It's not just at the quarterly events. It's everywhere. Even just watching the process that you guys have for your business, right? In terms of, coaching doctors and all this kind of stuff. Like all that stuff I can take and I can apply it to my practice, to my business, to my practice members. So, I mean, the possibilities with you guys, I feel like are absolutely endless because I'm just constantly learning and I'm like, oh, that's great. Oh, Trevor said this and that was fantastic. Oh, and he sent us this letter. I'm gonna do this and repurpose it, and it's amazing.
Awesome. I love to hear that, because we do have a pretty big team here. It's, when you join FPC, you're not joining Charlie or you're not joining, Danielle, you're joining this huge group of coaches who have real life experience. We've all built practices, from the bottom up. So we all have boots on the ground experience. That's a totally different thing to have when you're a coach, rather than like theoretical, oh, you should do it this way, right? So, okay, you've joined FPC. You've been with us for how long now?
Coming up on officially 2 months.
Yeah. So it's like 8 whole weeks.
Yeah, still fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat. And I love that we're doing this now, because this is so, to me, this time is so important, right? Because no matter what you're purchasing, whether it's a purse or a fitness item or a new house or a coaching program, sometimes buyer's remorse can kick in. And sometimes it can, people can even say, oh, well, are you happy you did it? And we can self-doubt ourselves all the time as well. But for you, after you joined FPC, what was the initial experience like? Did you feel like greeted well and warm and accepted? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, I was beyond pumped. I was just so excited to be in here and get started and, have that proven plan that I was desperately searching for 3 years. I mean, everybody was just amazing, like so kind. I mean, to be honest, I have, a special connection with you just because we've been chatting for, 3+ years. But I had that experience with every single person, every individual, right? Different people in the workshops, Nicole, Trevor, Farah, Luke with my coach. It's just, yeah, everyone is incredibly kind, incredibly welcoming, incredibly patient. And I mean, buyer's remorse, whatever the opposite of that is, that's what I had. I was just so gung ho. And like the only thing that I wish that I had was another copy of myself so that I could do all the work that I was wanting to do. Because there was so much learning, so many items that I needed to kind of check off and go through checklists. And I was just like, wow, I don't have enough time during the day to do all this stuff because I want to do it all right now.
Right.
So, yeah, that was my only real challenge, I guess.
And that's such a good point. So when people are, thinking about joining FPC, they sometimes go, well, I don't even understand what I get. And and what I always try and explain is it's so comprehensive that I couldn't even begin to explain every single thing that you get, and so I try and cast a vision of the destination of where they're going to go and just let them know that everything is going to be included to get you there. Have you felt like that so far?
Oh yeah. I mean, what I would say in terms of what you get is you get what you need.
Yeah.
You get every single thing that you need. And for different individuals, it's different things. Some people need, the confidence boost. Some people need the specific plan. Some people need the skill in terms of communication, right? Some people need all those things. And so every person is going to get exactly what they need because they have that one-on-one interaction with their coach. They have specific workshops that they can attend. It's fantastic because yes, we're always looking down the line at the end result, right? And it's how can we get you there, right? What do we need to do now to get one step closer there? And that's what I'm always focusing on, and that's what FPC has kind of taught me to continue to do.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And I love that you said that because it's absolutely true. We as a customized high touch coaching program, there's really nobody else out there that compares to what we do because, like you said, we give you what you need to be successful. We have the ability to do that because we've been doing it for so long, and we're able to steer people, out of danger when they get wrapped up around the axle on things that don't even matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah.
There's a lot of like keeping people focused and moving forward to meet goals as well. And our coaches are amazing at everything that they do. I'm really proud to be a part of such an amazing team. One of the things that we teach, one of the core pillars is putting your program together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I know that we worked a little bit on that before you joined, but once you joined, it's like a plethora of information, right? So what I can do with you as a lead versus what I can do with you as a client, two totally different things, right? You did put your programs together.
Mm-hmm.
And you've already moved a couple of people into programs, right?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that.
So that was really cool. So I feel like I was challenged by creating these programs. Like I had a really good idea because you'd kind of introduced it to me earlier on, but I was trying to get everything in there and make it as perfect as possible. And Luke was instrumental in helping me refine that. And then once I had it the way that I liked it, I just felt so much confidence within myself, so much confidence because now everything that I was saying, I had it backed up. Right. I had the full view in terms of this is exactly what you need to help you create the life that you want, to help you restore your health, to help you improve your health. And it was fantastic. And when I had these conversations with these practice members about these programs, they were just so, like, probably the smoothest conversations I've ever had since I've been in practice, because it wasn't about, forcing anybody or selling anybody or saying, hey, like, I need to see you X amount of times, or hey, I need you to buy this supplement. It was more, what is it that you want? Okay, let's get you there. This vehicle is going to help you get there. And I've put everything that you need into this program, and I'm going to be right there next to you the whole time, the whole way, holding your hand if you need me to hold your hand. And there was no doubt, no question in their minds that they're like, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I need.
I love that. And you mentioned something earlier. I'm going to bring it back in right now. The FPC model that we use to run our business is the same model we give you guys to run your business, because it's a very, very good business model and it works, right? Mm-hmm. So we practice what we preach. Because we don't sell, we never want you selling. We never want the doctors to sell. If the doctors are selling, then there's been a very, very big miscommunication, and we got to go back upstream and fix it, right? That is one of the things, that's one of the misconceptions that I hear all the time, is like, yeah, but I can't sell and I don't want to sell. And we don't want you to sell either, right? We want you to educate, because that's what being a doctor is about, is educating and offering opportunities to reach these destinations of health. That for me, the people in my life and that I see around me, they've forgotten how amazing they can feel. They have literally forgotten what their potential is. And, as a group, if we can bring these doctors together and these communities together to really reach their optimal potential as human beings, what could we do? There's so many other things that we can even do. And that's what's the most exciting thing for me. I mean, when I was working for Dr. Bernice Gonzalez and we were working with children, I was able to change the trajectory of children's lives. That's that's phenomenal, that you guys have the power to change families for generations, that you have the ability to change children as they grow into adults. I mean, it's just, it's such a cool thing that you guys are doing out in the field. And I love that I get to be a small part of it. But, does that feel, have you felt that shift, of, you're really, really helping people reach these potentials rather than piecemealing things back, from what you were doing before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always told people that they're not just parts, right? So I would see people as a chiropractor, someone would come in with shoulder pain or knee pain or low back pain or something along those lines, and they're just used to getting that area examined and addressed, and that's it. Then they're on their way, and then they're confused and frustrated because it comes back, right? So the big thing is to look at everything, right? To zoom out, take a bird's eye view, and make big, profound changes that are going to build the health that they want, not just fix these little problems that they're experiencing now. Yes, by building the life that they want, those problems will end up getting taken care of. But that's the most important thing. Like now, compared to back when I was seeing insurance patients, now I see people who are excited to come in. They're like, oh my God, I was working on what we talked about last time, and I saw this improvement, or my kids started looking at me differently, or my energy level was super high all day long, or I woke up this morning and I felt amazing. It's just, those kinds of changes that spark energy into my practice now. And I'm excited. I'm eager to come in every day. I'm eager to have these appointments. I'm eager to, change these people's lives for the better.
I love that. So we went from kind of being frustrated in the way that you were practicing and maybe a little discouraged to loving what you do again and getting it and excited that you get to go and do these things with your practice members. I love that. That's so awesome. One of the other questions that I get asked a lot is, I think for people who are so grounded into insurance, they've lost the ability to perceive what people are willing to invest in, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just can't fathom that people will pay cash for one. And if they are in a cash model, but it's fee for service, they can't imagine people paying more than a couple of $100 for a visit. And so what I want to talk about is how we take that mindset of people aren't willing to pay for things to people are willing to invest in themselves. And I've seen it. I know you've seen it, right? Do you see that now? Do you see that people truly are willing to invest in themselves?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's all about getting them to understand what it is that they're doing. Because I had people during the insurance, when I was in insurance, that would fight about a $20 copay.
Yep.
And I was blown away. I was, I'd just be like, okay, fine, don't pay it. And then I'd never see them again. And now, I had somebody who paid upfront for a 12-month program, didn't even think twice about it. And it was $18,000. And I mean, that's a monstrous difference.
So they invested almost $20,000 into themselves to work with you for a year to reach the destination that they wanted, because that destination is priceless.
That's absolutely true, because he was able to see and understand exactly what we were moving towards. Whereas in the past, like that vision wasn't available to him. Right. So once he had that understanding, once he had that clear vision, then yeah, absolutely. The money was, not comparable to what he wanted.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And how did FPC help you with the mindset around because if you notice, the words that we're using are a little bit different than words that most practitioners use, right? We're not using patient, we use practice member. There's a reason for that. You learned that, and you can learn that in the video with Charlie when you see Charlie's webinar. But, when we also say cost versus investment, because it does, that copay, it is a cost, because I'm already paying for my insurance and I'm already paying, this, and I'm already paying that. So they don't perceive it as a value at all. It's a cost to them. It's an expense, right? But when you flip it and you're showing them that there's a destination that people can actually reach through a systemized program that you've put together, customized to them and their needs, that is priceless. And that investment, we have really big ranges, and you found your investment price of $18,000. And, that particular practice member that moved forward into that, I guarantee you he is going to be thrilled at the end of the day with his results, because you're changing his life. We're not fixing anything. We're not putting a bandage on anything. We're not, we're taking him from this place that he is now of what I see most of the time is lack of energy and lack of drive, and they've lost their zeal for life. And, you name it, it's the average American. They want to live up here. They want to be Superman. They want to be super mom. And the fact that you're able to guide them, because you can't fix them, right? No, but you are going to guide them. They're going to go home and co-labor with you and do the work themselves. And that's how we know that they're going to reach that destination, because they're going home and doing the work. They're not depending upon you to fix them.
Exactly. And that's, kind of like I was saying before, FPC does the same thing for me. You guys aren't fixing my practice. You guys aren't, making my practice. You guys aren't bringing people into my practice. You guys are teaching me how to do that. And then I'm in turn teaching my practice members how to create the life that they want, how to build their health, and how to sustain it themselves.
Absolutely right. I love that. It's exactly spot on. So, before we wrap up today and part ways so that we can go change more lives, for anybody that's watching right now, and that might be on the fence, for anybody that's watching right now that, has been talking to me for more than a few months, maybe even a couple of years like you, what piece of advice do you have to give?
Well, I mean, to be blunt, just do it. but to kind of get in a little bit more in depth, you have to think about what it is that you want. Like, what is your end result? What is the goal that you want to achieve? Is it, to make more money? Is it to make a bigger impact in the lives of the people that you're helping? Is it, to become a better doctor? Is it to have more free time? Whatever your goal is, think about that, focus on that, and then ask yourself a question. Can you get there by yourself? If the answer is yes, cool. If the answer is no, FPC is absolutely going to help you. But even if you can get there on your own, FPC will get you there faster. And in my opinion, that is priceless. So I strongly recommend that you give Danielle a call her as many times as you need. She's very, very helpful and very encouraging, and she'll be there just like everyone else in FPC will.
Awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the reminiscing too. Time flies when you're having fun. I am so proud of you and everything that you've already achieved just in the short 8 weeks that you've been a part of FPC. I'm sure that we'll have you on again so you can tell us, even more amazing things that have happened in your life. But thank you again for being here. I appreciate everything that you do.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and I look forward to it.
Thank you.